Welcome back, my fellow makers and foam fanatics. In today's episode, I built a cool combat helmet. Now, what you're thinking, hey, Ted, where's that pattern? This pattern is from Much Props. I'll have the link for that below the video. Matter of fact, while you're going over to Much Props YouTube channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. This pattern was available, and not only that, it's free. So definitely grab that, build that, because what we're going to do today is I'm going to patch up all the seams with Gap-Filla. Gap-Filla is a new product made from Prop Monkey Studios. This stuff is used to fill all the unwanted little gaps and corners and things you don't like on your foam helmet or cosplay. And the best thing about it, it's non-toxic, it stays flexible, and when it dries, you can sand it. I know what you're thinking, I don't believe it. That's right, that's why I'm gonna make this video and show you it's possible. So if you guys are ready, let's get started. Well, there it is, the combat helmet from Fallout 4. Lots of great detail and lots of layering. So in making this, there's some gaps you guys can see right here. There's some gaps here on the top, and there's some of the gapping when I glue the helmet together. So what we're gonna do is take this amazing gap filler, which it says, first of all, on the top is do not freeze, and before using, stir well to degas. So we're gonna do just that. I have my spatula right here. Space right here. Now you're probably asking yourself, where can I get this stuff? I have links to this below the video. This is at TNT Cosplay Supplies. For example, right here, see this little space right here? That's always kind of a pain in the butt. But now I can just fill it in. Boom, done. Isn't that wonderful? Now for just me personally, I like to take my finger, dip it in some water, and just soften it up a little bit and then go over it. Because sometimes I think it's just difficult to get in there with sandpaper. So I just try to make it as smooth as possible before it dries. And we have some big seams up here, like right here, take this guy. Dab my finger. Most definitely a big seam here too. Let's go ahead and get this guy as well. Tell you what, this is a little rough. I can feel the glue and a high raise, so we're gonna take a stone bit and a rotary tool. Let's knock this down a little bit. Now doing spots like that, I like to use these smaller bit. So we're gonna swap this guy out. There's still some stuff on this lid. Look at that. Don't want this stuff to go to waste. I'm going to grab a little bit of that. And we're going to go on this guy right here. This does two things. Not only is it filling in the gaps, but it's covering the seams of the foam where I stacked it. Completely non-toxic too. So you don't have to wear a mask. You don't have to work outdoors. This is completely friendly. And just when I was doing it, I realized another step I want to do. This is the 2mm foam comes down here, and this needs to actually blend into the helmet, and there's a bit of a lip here, and I realized that can go away, so let's do it. And I ground it down as much as I could, but I realized there'll still be a little bit of a seam there, but if I use the gap filler on it, look at all this gap underneath the helmet. Just when I thought I was done, I can always find something else. So let's go ahead and let's patch this really quick too. I want everything filled and sanded. So. Okay, where was I? That's right. I like to say that now that I have all the gap filler on here, you can definitely hit it with a hair dryer and to make it handleable. But I think that I put it on pretty thick in some spots and wet it down with my finger to smooth things out. So we're gonna go ahead and give this a good day to dry. We're gonna come back to it tomorrow and sand this stuff down. All right, there it is. It's set for a whole day. It is dry. Now it's the moment of truth. You can feel it. Yeah, it's definitely dry. All my spots. And I like using sanding sponges. So that's what we have here today. So we're gonna start with a sanding sponge. Here's our first spot. Let's give it a sand. Now definitely hide the seams of the foam, and it's flexible. I'm pushing into it. It's not cracking. Look at that. Amazing. Now here's the best part. This is the 2mm foam we had before, and I always had that little bit of a lip. We filled it in. Now we're going to sand it. Yeah, this is great. It just blends right in. All right, everything is sanded. This is nice and smooth. This looks great. Our next product we'll be using, this is Prime. This is a first coat for EVA foam. This is just a really simple coat that you put on the foam. It kind of seals in the pores and kind of smooths everything out. Since I've already got the gaps filled in, so there's the rest of this stuff that's foam, and I want to go ahead and seal it with this. And it says stir well before using. I just shook it really well. I definitely want to follow the instructions, so let's stir it. I find that this stuff goes on thin, it dries kind of transparent, so it's kind of hard to tell where I've been. So I'm just going to add a little bit of black pigment to it, just a little dab, just to make it a little darker. There you go. And again, I have a nice soft brush. Let's start right in here. All right, this is really coming together, looking great. We're gonna seal this soon. There's one more thing I wanna do. I had this brass tube, and I wanna cut, as in the actual helmet, there's like a little bar in the game. There's like a little bar, I think it was for goggles or whatnot. Little added detail I really like. So I took the brass tube, cut a hole in this, like this. All right, get that. Let me pull that plug out of there. There, got it. Again, being this is foam, it's easy. So you just bend this out of the way, line up and get it centered. Nice. Brass tube and cut into it like that. All right, got it. All right, got it. Let's do the other side. All the patching's done, the sanding's done, and used Prime. So again, there's two products from Prop Monkey. Gap-Filla and the Prime. So now these guys are both on this helmet. This is ready to be sealed, and the next step is we're going to be using creature cast. There's a technique I like to do when I'm spraying my helmets. I made myself a little wood base with a piece of foam on here. I used to use hot glue, and sometimes I found it's hard to get these guys off without tearing the helmet off. So I stopped using hot glue. I'm going to use double stick tape. So I just brushed a real thin coat of contact cement here. I'm gonna use double stick tape, so therefore when I go to pull on it, it's gonna come off a lot easier. My problem is I was putting the helmets on, it was just sticking way too well to come off. So now I'm just gonna do this, take off the double stick tape. Should sit on it right there, all right? We have it. We're gonna go ahead and take this to the spray booth. And we're going to proceed to seal it with creature cast. This is liquid neoprene rubber. I love this stuff. It goes on beautifully, and also when you get on pretty thick, you can also sand this as well too. But this is one of my favorites, and this is semi-rigid. This is 1 gallon. So if you plastic dip, you people out there like to use plastic dip a lot, this is the best replacement for that. I'm going to apply it by using a critter gun. This is a spray gun. Now, Critter's gotten a little expensive over the years. You can also find a gun just like this. It's called a siphon gun. I'll have links for these, both of these, below the video. So what I do is I open this guy up, and I have a strainer. I always like to use a strainer because sometimes get chunks and things in there, and nothing will clog the tip faster because it's small. So I have a piece of wire mesh on there, and I have some creature cast. I've already added a little bit of a thickening agent that comes with it. With creature cast, you can order it. It's definitely good to get this thickening agent. Helps. I added like a couple of drops to mix it in, make it a little bit thicker. I like the consistency of milk, you know, and this guy might be a little thicker than milk, but I'll pour it through here. See that? Look at that. There's chunks on this. Again, that would have been in the gun, so since I did that, it prevents it from getting in there. Got my gun. Now, again, when using the critter gun, it's good to have a compressor. I know you have airbrush compressors, don't really have the muscle for that, so I like to get the bigger compressors, and I pump it up to 25 PSI. 0.5 psi on your nozzle for the spray. So you guys, let's get spraying. There it is. The helmet is sealed. It's dry. Let it dry for a day. One thing about Gap-Filla, if there's some imperfections and things you can see, you can actually go ahead and add on top of this and still sand it. But I'm looking this over and this looks great. So our next step is we're going to put a base color on it. And of course, I'm going to do the olive drab. I got some, we're going to go take this to the spray booth and lay down a olive drab color on this. All right, the olive drab spray paint is dry. This is fantastic. Now we're going to start aging. I was thinking about this, you know, I could get all crazy with an airbrush, or do some oils and stuff and do the fade. But I thought, you know, I'm just gonna do this very old school. I'm gonna mix up some acrylic paints and a chip brush, and we're just gonna age it and then wipe off the excess. Oh, I got my solo cup. I got a jar of water. I got a chip brush right here. We're going to start with just mixing up a blackish brown. I always like to start with the brown first because black will overpower things. So I always like just to add a little bit of black in the beginning because, you know, I like this. He's a little bit more black after all that, right? So paper towel. Because you really can't see what you have until it's dry. So let's go ahead and drying. I'm looking at it. I like it, but I think it'd be a little darker. So I'm going to go ahead and mix up. I mixed up a darker black and brown again, but I'm going to focus on the cracks and crevices on this. There we go. This is much, much better. The weathering, I like this a lot. Now what we do is we take paper towel, some denatured alcohol. I'm going to go through and just wipe off some of the highlights on this. And what they'll do, they'll remove some of the acrylic weathering I have on here. Now again, look how smooth all this is in here. This is all because of the gap filler. Isn't that something? Look at that. Just ties in so well. All right, this is looking amazing. Love this color. Love the aging. Now, on the helmet, there's these little metal bars that stick out, which of course you guys see when I cut a hole for those. And I have a little wood dowel I got at a craft store, little wood sticks. And so I measured them, cut them to length. So what you can do is you just kind of stuff it in and then push down and then ta-da, look at that, right? You're gonna slide in here. So I figured since they're not glued in yet, let's go ahead and paint these. But I thought before I paint them, even though they're little wood dowels, they're pretty smooth, but I'm gonna go ahead and seal them. Podge right here. Just gonna do a real thin little coat. Okay, they're dry. I'm gonna grab some paint. In order to paint these guys, I'm gonna go ahead and just take and stick them onto a straight pin here real quick. There you go. Okay, they're dry. Now we're gonna go ahead and glue them in. I'm just gonna apply some contact cement. This is one thing I love about the contact cement is that you can use it while it's wet. You apply it to the tip like this, right? And the tip to this guy. Then you put it in like so. And like that. Put it back out. Twist it around a little bit. Okay, I want to let these guys dry for a little bit. All right, this is looking great. I love it. I have some dark metallic. I want to do some aging and some nicks on it. I think the bright chrome would be too much. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sit back here and take some dark metallic. All right, there it is. The dark metallic aging on it. Little scratches. This looks great. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to seal it. We got all this stuff. I'm gonna seal it all together. We have some matte clear varnish. We're gonna take this to the spray loop and put a thin coat. This will seal the paint. Okay, there it is. The clear coat is dry. This looks awesome. technically this would be done, but as you guys can see here, I made a hole because I want to put an LED in here. And what we're going to use for lights today, these little lithium. Have you guys seen these? It's a little lithium battery holder. It's got snaps open, holds 2 lithium batteries. It's got a little on and off switch already installed. And what I like about it, it's very small and low profile, so you can just put it inside anything. My LED, it's white. And I realized this is supposed to be like a flashlight lens, so we're going to make that today. I was digging through stuff and I found that I had a little bit of a wood half round. I got this at a craft store. So I got a dowel, glued it down, put it on a base. So we're going to heat up some PETG plastic and stretch this over this to make my dome for my light. And of course I need my heat board right here. I have some thin PETG plastic. I'm going to pull off the protective film on it. I'm gonna take my heat gun, heat it up, make it soft enough, and stretch over this. But I realize, it's gonna get hot. Let me grab some, let me grab my silicone gloves to handle this when it gets hot. Here you go. I discovered these silicone work gloves, but they're really nice and thick, and they're great when you're holding hot stuff. Let that cool. I can see, kind of pulled it, wrapped it around. That's it. Yeah, the best bet to do is go ahead and cut off the bottom. What I want to do is, I think it's best, I get some tape, and we'll just tape out this line. Tape's going to be my guideline. So I'm going to take the tape, take the cutting wheel, and just follow the inside of the tape line. Yeah, looks good. I'm going to go ahead and get a sanding stick. It might be a little uneven on the edges, but it doesn't really bother me because that's going to be hidden once you put it inside the, you see the little shroud there. See? Look at that. That's perfect. We have our LED. It's white. As you guys can see, I went ahead and took the cutting wheel. I cut the lens off. So there we go. So let's see how it sits. Ah, there you go. Perfect. I need to diffuse this. This is going to be very bright and very white. So we have to throw a little bit of a diffusion on there. Some diffusion paper. I'm going to put it on there. Right. Got this. And I have a colored gel to kind of make it more like an orangey lens. Let's go and solder these guys together. Now these guys soldered, let's go ahead and turn the light back on. Yeah, see, a little bit of a space there, but oops. What I've realized is that I cut this back so the LED would have distance, but this is catch. What I'm going to do is get in here with my rotary tool and grind this out just a little bit. So now you have the LED. And we have the diffusion paper. See, look at that. That's it. That's exactly what I wanted. I realized that we need to have something to stick these guys onto, like some clear packing tape. Lay the tape down, and we'll drop the paper under this, like that. I'll put the gel on that, and I'll sandwich it between the tape. That. So then when I trim it, I'll just leave a little bit of a border on it. This sits in here like this. Right? See? Got the glow. Look at that. That's so awesome. And then this goes on top of this. Like that. You know what I want to do though? I think this is cool, but it's so clear. I'd like to diffuse the lens a little bit. All right, I have some sanding paper. I have a sanding sponge, and this stuff, the PETG plastic is so soft, I'll probably be able to very easily scope. Yeah, so you can see it. Excellent, this is working. So I gotta stick this guy in. I'm gonna probably a little dab of super glue, maybe. Super glue there on the lens. drop this in, float it in. Drop my lens in. Let's take a look at this, shall we? Here we go. That looks great. The one thing I can tell you I want to do, now I'm looking at it, is I like this. The edge is a really rough. So I want to kind of hide this, get rid of this. So the best bet would be to go ahead and let's mask this off and paint this. I think it'd be nice if we just paint this edge black. Yeah, see the black ring now? Better, exactly what I wanted. There we go. So let's go ahead and start gluing things in place, shall we? All right, everything's secured. I got it glued in, my wires, my switches. So for the lens, now gluing the lens on here, I like this, but I don't want to use any super glue out of fear of it frosting or doing something to this guy. So I'm gonna get something very slow curing, which is always good. My favorite's goop. I'm just gonna run a little bit of this goop on the edge here. Some goop on the edges. Line it up. And there it is, look at that. You know something? I call this helmet done. And there it is, the Fallout 4 combat helmet is complete. A big thank you to my friend Much Props, Much Props, for making this amazing pattern. If you guys want to know where to get that, I have that listed below. Speaking of links, if you guys want to try out Gap-Filla, I have it listed below the video. If you click on that link, it helps me, gives me a little bit of a kickback. Matter of fact, everything I used on this build is all listed below the video. And while you're at it, jump over to my website, eviltedsmith.com, where I have numerous patterns. And while you're there, get on my mailing list, which I'll keep you up to date on what I'll be doing next. And if you've been watching my videos for some time and you built a costume, please submit a photo of your complete costume to my Fan Photo Friday. And every Friday, I'll be posting pictures of people I have chosen to put in my gallery. This video you're watching is from my live stream I do on twitch.tv/eviltedsmith every other Monday and Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you everybody for hanging out while using this new product, Gap-Filla. It is amazing. If you're wondering, yes, I did trim my beard. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you back next time right here on Evil Ted Live.